Welcome everybody to today's LinkedIn audio where we are talking all things community, folks. So hopefully you are liking that we are family. Today's topic is how to engage and build community in Web3. Super excited about today. Just welcoming onto the stage a wonderful Francesca. So folks, here's the couple of questions to get you thinking. Do you know what most people miss when you think Web3? What really is the difference between community and customers? And can you afford to not invest the time learning about how to build a community in line with these new technologies we're now living? So as Web3 communities provide a framework for members to contribute to what is being built and benefit from its success, we are super passionate about today's topic, folks. So very briefly, my name is Rob Hanna. I'm the founder of KC Partners. We're a legal talent solution and content creation firm. Day to day, we help lawyers with their careers and landing dream jobs. I also host this product's LinkedIn Audio Town Hall every Sunday, and also an investor into recruitment and legal tech startups, and a super proud host of the Legally Speaking podcast, where I've had two very special guests here today, the wonderful Mitch Jackson and wonderful Francesca. Both feature on the show, providing real thought-provoking content as they already do. And as I always say, I'm a proud first-time father and parent to my miniature dachshund dog, Otto. But I couldn't run these amazing Web3 focused events without the help of the community and good dear friends and also experts in their own right. So firstly, the wonderful Mitch Jackson. Mitch is an award-winning 2013 California Litigation Lawyer of the Year. And over the last 35 years, Mitch has helped hundreds of clients with their startups, business planning, and litigation needs. And when Mitch isn't representing clients, he enjoys giving keynote presentations focused on helping people better understand and really leverage the intersection of law and tech. And recently, and I'm super excited about this, folks, Mitch and his son Garrett co-founded Maneuver, which is a leading cutting-edge metaverse and Web3 consulting agency, folks. So you really want to make sure you're hitting Mitch's button, following him, and checking out mitchjackson.com for more information. Alongside Mitch, we're joined by our resident top expert when it comes to all things trademark and copyright, the wonderful Francesca. She helps individuals and businesses in entertainment, fashion, beauty, luxury, technology, consumer products, you name it, to enforce, monetize their intellectual property assets. And she's counseled top businesses, celebrities, artists, athletes, influencers, and many more. She also runs her Decentral Lawyer social media handles, where she provides advice on all aspects of trademark, brand protection relating to up-to-date Web3 and NFT content. And it does not get any better in terms of really understanding the world of NFTs and how to protect your projects than Francesca. So thank you both for being here. And as always, under Virtual Insanity, this is co-hosted by my wonderful co-founder, Caleb Bowl, who is also a Web3 entrepreneur and active NFT community builder. So hopefully, folks, you're in very safe hands for today's discussion. Just to let you know, this room is being recorded, so all content will be shared purely for educational purposes, and we'll be running for about an hour. So please do hit the invite button, invite some friends, connections into the room so we can share and mastermind together. And feel free to raise your hand at any point if you have a question. We would love to hear from you. We want to make this an interactive, snappy discussion. So anything that you want to know when it comes to community building, Web3, just feel free to raise your hand. No such thing as a silly question. All questions welcomed. We're a community here. This is a safe space. So first off, folks, can you give me a thumbs up in the audience if you are part of a Web3 community currently? So give me a thumbs up if you are part of Web3 community currently. Okay, cool, interesting. And give me a heart emoji if you love the overarching concept when it comes to Web3. Give me a heart emoji if you like the concept of Web3. Awesome. Okay, cool. So, folks, the word of the hour is most definitely community. So Web3 has brought value of community building right into the spotlight, particularly over the last sort of 12 to 24 months. And some of the most successful blockchains, DAOs, NFT projects, DeFi protocols, decentralized marketplaces all have one thing in common. they all have engaged communities. So that's why I'm going to jump to some questions to kick off today with our wonderful panel to sort of get their thoughts and insights around this. So Mitch, would love to come to you first on this, because keeping your community engaged means keeping them informed on the development of projects and what you're up to. And I don't know much better people than you of doing this. So I would love to know how you're engaging with your Web3 community. So good to see you, and thanks for being here.
Oh, it's always good to see you, Rob, Caleb, Francesca, everyone in the audience. Let's share this out. So much value shared every single Monday, and we need to get some butts in the digital seats, whether we're in traditional seats or Web3 seats. So, Rob, I use a two-prong approach, and I've always had before Web3. I think it's even more important moving forward in today's Web3 environment. And I think if everyone follows what we're doing, they're going to experience success moving forward. The first level of building community at the Web3 level, I believe, is to tap into the commonly used public facing platforms. For example, Twitter. This is where we share our vision, our ideas. This is where we let the world know about all the exciting things that we're doing in our Web3 communities. And it's also about understanding how Twitter works, for example, or whatever your platform of choice is, to get the conversation going. Okay, so that's the first level touch. Then what we do is we have a second level touch. Once we bring people over into our, for example, Discord community, which is my community of choice when it comes to Web3 for the purposes of today's show, this is where the quality interactions happen. This is where we dive a bit deeper, where we create efficient, organized structures for communication for everyone in this second level community. To do that, Rob, there are really three things that we focus on. The first thing we do at the second level is we make it super simple to greet new members into the second level community by sharing information with them, by laying out how the space is organized, by oftentimes using very simple and straight to the point automated interactions to make that new user, for example, in our Discord, feel comfortable and feel like they're part of a family. If I could sing, I would have unmuted and sang along with that song at the top of the show. Absolutely, that's what Web3 communities are all about. We would also use different, very specific channels in our Discord concerning identified topics so that people coming into the Discord know where they can go to get answers to questions or more information as to what we're doing specifically in the community. The last thing we do is understand that it's all about the new community member experiences, and it's all about keeping ongoing community members and veteran community members interested in what we're doing. So we focus on experience in this second level community to keep the momentum moving forward, to invite the participation of our Web3 community when it comes to decisions, ideas, when it comes to expanding what we're doing. We incorporate all of this into the third level. And if I have a chance later on in today's show, Rob, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. We do all the above through effective storytelling. We do all the above by focusing on transparency and inclusion. And we do all the above by making it not about me, for example, but about the community participation, possibly using DAOs to accomplish all of the above. So in a nutshell, that's our two-pronged step to building community in Web3.
And wow, what a response, Mitch! And it just proof is in the pudding. Mitch is living, breathing, eating all things Web3, and you definitely want to make sure that you're following him and jumping into that community, folks. Because the word that I wanted to pick up there, Mitch, from everything you're outlining was inclusive. You mentioned, you want to make it free, because there's still a lot of overwhelm with Web3 and people aren't quite understanding, or maybe they haven't heard of Discord before, or it's new. The fact that you're trying to put, simple, guidelines, steps, measures to reduce the overwhelm. Everyone is welcome, encouraging participation. I think that inclusivity piece is super, super important. It's great that you are doing that. And Francesca, would love to jump to you, because as great as Web3 is and community building, it's creators and business owners that are putting things out there. What do they need to think about when joining these communities, maybe in terms of maybe protecting some of their IP in sort of Web3 communities? Because it's super important, right? It can be described as wild, wild west. So I'd love to get your thoughts around that protection piece when it comes to Web3 communities.
Thanks, Rob. And we can talk about Web3, the metaverse, NFTs all day. But the reality is, most people are still in Web2, are growing businesses in Web2. And what that means is physical goods, physical service in real life and on social media. So I know a lot of you are either physical, you are professionals, you are service providers, and or you are offering physical goods. With COVID, everyone really was forced to pivot online, and you'll see the incredible leaders like Mitch, like Rob, like Caleb, who have been utilizing social media and online businesses for a while. And so we've kind of skipped ahead because the technology is moving so fast. We're talking about the next evolution of the internet, but it's still critical to talk about the importance of protecting your brand in business in real life and online as it stands today. So if you haven't already done that, unfortunately seeing, I'm writing an article on this right now. I call it the trademark real estate scarcity. So I'm seeing a problem right now where, with more people being online, with more brands and businesses and service providers coming up with their names and slogans, there's a rush to register names. And so I'm helping more doctors and lawyers and product based brands register their names. But the problem is that because there's only a finite amount of words in the English language, I'm struggling to have clients to find names that aren't already taken. And so I call it this trademark real estate scarcity problem. So my I have two tips for everyone. One is to make sure that you start today. If you have brand names, or if you have a name, it can even be your own personal name. That's a brand that you want to protect. Really take action and invest in yourself now. I practice what I preach. I file all of my trademark names for slogans and packages and things that I want to trademark. I recently helped a client sell two trademark filings for $125,000. So there is value. I would be remiss to be mentioning that. And then the second piece is the community. And so we can talk about community building in Web3 and the metaverse, which we're going to today. But I think fundamentally, the time is now that you just build your community. However, that is, whether it's starting to post content on LinkedIn, starting to engage, writing and commenting on other people's, to build that community. I no joke, I met Rob and Mitch last year. I met Caleb this year, and I've been following them. And I just started my own community this year. And I'm proud to say, I've built a mini community. So you can too. The point is, start protecting your business with IP and start building that community. And then that is going to be the perfect way that you can take what you've built and then expand it into the metaverse and Web3 and all things with NFTs.
But Francesca, we don't know where to start. There's so many new terms, there's so many new platforms. I think I need my IP protected, but I haven't really finished my company yet. I get a great idea, a great service, but I haven't created a website or a Discord. And because of all of that, I haven't done anything to protect my legal rights, nor have I done anything to kind of build out my community. And one thing I noticed is a paralysis through analysis. It's very prevalent on Web3. You want to do your due diligence. You want to be careful with what you do, but you also need to take action. Oftentimes, right now, because this is so new, just by being that first business owner or professional, with an art gallery or with a Discord or starting to build out your Web3 community, it can set you apart from a marketing and branding standpoint. And that's one of the reasons I was so excited about today's show, is to maybe get some feedback from you, Francesca, and Caleb and Rob, and anyone else that jumps up on stage about balancing, well, I'm not quite ready, so I don't know when to start, with, hey, you know what? The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time to start is today. And if you have to wait until tomorrow, maybe tomorrow too. And I'm jumping back in real quick, Rob, because I do have to take a call at the bottom of the hour. And so I will be listening, and I'll pop back in when I can. But I'd be curious, Rob, Caleb, and Francesca, just each of you, if you could just talk, for 30 seconds about the concept of, even if you don't have all of your ducks lined up in a row, you still want to start building community right away, so that when you are ready to go, you've got that community here to support you and promote you and help mutually move forward to that intended goal. So important, right?
More than
Absolutely,
ever.
Mitch. Francesca, I'd love to go you first, then Caleb, then I'm happy to jump in. Like to welcome also to the stage Maddie and Izzy. Great to see you. We'll jump to you for your contributions and questions. And folks, if anyone else has questions, feel free to raise your hand or contributions. This is a safe space. But Francesca, go for it.
I'm going to keep it really short, 30 seconds or less. The time is now. Do your due diligence. You guys are here. It's amazing. We're building this creator and professional economy where everyone is really building IP. That's what we're doing now. That's what you're doing by putting out your content. It's what you're doing with your trademarks, your brand name, your personal brands. You're competing now with lots of eyes online, and more people are going to start using social, more important than ever. And I'm building out a bunch of information on how to begin your IP protection plan. So if you guys don't already follow me on LinkedIn, just tap my photo here, follow me here, and follow me on Instagram. There's going to be a full-blown video series on exactly what every single person needs to do to protect their brand online and in the metaverse. So thanks, guys.
Thank you. You definitely don't want to miss that, folks. So make sure that you also click the bell on Francesca's profile, because you'll also get alerted about when she goes live and also when she's posting content as well. Caleb, would love to get your thoughts on Mitch's sort of comment around that with community. Then I'm happy to jump in, and then, as I say, we'll take some questions and contributions from our speakers.
Sure. Oh, can you hear me well? I have a new microphone, and so the question was around, how do I start with Web3 and building a community? Yeah. In 30 seconds or less, I would say, think about it as a concept, right? I'm not going to give you a specific actionable, but think about it this way. When we talk about, so in Christianity, right, they talk about, what's the church? It's not the building, it is the people, right? It's that same exact concept. If you have a Discord channel, it's cool, right? You have a Discord channel, right? You can encourage people to get into it. But like a quote that I just saw earlier that I took a screenshot of, I'm going to butcher this, but it's your community and putting out content. It's like a conversation, right? It's not necessarily one-sided. You got to make it seem like the community is interacting with your brand. Your brand is like, it's taking off on its own. And whether or not you have a business brand, it could be your personal brand. You just have to interact with people, right? Community is about talking with and fostering a culture with real people. It doesn't have to be in any specific place. It can be across all sorts of different platforms. And it's just about connecting with people on a different level.
Such great points, and I'm going to be super brief because I want to allow other people and our speakers also to jump in as well. Oh, Maddie, I think you're off mute. Just if you could mute your mic. Yeah, just let me see if I can do it. Yeah, cool. Okay, great. Yeah, the one thing I would say. Oh, just bear with me. Oh, sorry, folks. I'm gonna have to try and juggle around. Can people still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Caleb, can you? Yeah, cool, perfect. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the one thing I would say when it comes to all of this is it's for them. I think it's so important with community. The communities that succeed, they create real value for their members. And so when you're thinking of starting, don't think about how am I going to do this for me? Like think about what's for them. Right now, there are pain points, real strong pain points, because there's a lack of awareness, a lack of sort of education when it comes to some of the Web3 focused content or discussions or getting started. So if you could make content or build a community that's around them to educate and help and inspire and engage with them, you stand a far better chance of really succeeding with your community. And with that, would love to try and hopefully see if we can get Maddie back up onto the stage. But I'd love to jump to Izzy and welcome you to the stage. Thanks for being here. Feel free to introduce yourself, and love to get your thoughts or around sort of community building and how you're doing that in Web3, or any questions you may have for us. You have the mic.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Rob, Mitch, Francesca, Caleb, and everybody in the audience. My name is Izzy, and I'm an NFT artist, a fashion designer. I'm drawing paintings and also wearables for metaverses. This is pretty everything I do with NFTs, but also traveling around the globe with NFT exhibitions, and building community on some blockchains. And about creating the community, I think from my perspective is first of all about giving the value to other people. So start to give to them, then people like to keep in touch with you and help you as well. So for I'm blockchain which calls DSO, which stands for decentralized social, and there I'm doing uh, many events the community. For example, when Robert and Caleb joined, and also Francesca, we did some rooms and spaces for our community to learn about IP rights and law. So that was really helpful. So thanks a lot for educating people there. When it comes to some fun points, like I'm doing the yearly meetups for our community. So we are meeting in real life with people with who we are speaking on daily basis, collaborating, working together. But because we are mainly on our socials, meeting in real life is really something outstanding. It makes you to get into deeper level of connection with people. So definitely, like first of all, it's like giving value to others, and secondly, meeting in real life um, is giving a big progress. And the third thing I would say, to collaborate with each other. When you do collaborate, then first of all you are understanding a person much better, and secondly you are bringing a beautiful product or service to the world, and you are also merging, I would say, your communities together. So I would say these 3 points are the most crucial ones, at least for me.
Well, thank you so much, Izzy, for sharing that. And I couldn't agree more, particularly on the collaboration point of view. I think if I hadn't have gone down that route in anything that I tried to achieve in the modern world we're living, I think I'd have taken me double the amount of time. And that's why, Caleb, you and I are enjoying collaborating together with Virtual Insanity. And we obviously collaborate regularly with Francesca and Mitch, who provide so much value week in, week out. And I just can't stress enough the power of that, even more so when it comes to Web3. Mitch, would love to jump to you just for a quick question. If you're still there, just give me a quick mic flash. I know you've got to duck out in the bottom of that. Okay, cool. Cool, because you mentioned something before around storytelling, and I think it's really important. And it sounds like you agree that Web3 communities are really brought to life by effective storytelling. So would love to get your thoughts generally around the benefits of that storytelling, and any tips you would give to people around that, specifically in a Web3 context, because I think it's something you do very well.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate that. It's something that I work on each and every day because it works in a court of law, and it works even better on social media. Izzy, you nailed this. Zarina nailed this perfectly. And I just want to come back real quick. Creating communities that create real value for their members. It's so important in a Web3 community. Rob, you mentioned this. Francesca, you alluded to this, and Caleb mentioned this. That's something, if everyone takes away from this conversation, the need to create real value for your community members, okay? The intent of doing so, though, Rob, it's one thing. Like, I want to create a community that adds value, but then understanding how to do it, I think that's where a lot of people, get tossed on their heads. It's like, okay, now how do I make that happen? And I think the way you make that happen is you focus on creating relationships within your community. You encourage community members, just like Izzy did when she came on. She mentioned that she knows you guys, and you guys are in the same communities together. And that's part of relationship building. And I think that's super important in a Web3. Also, in your Web3 environments, provide a framework for members to contribute to what's being done, to what's being built, and also the best way for people to communicate with each other. Speaking of communicating, to answer your question, Rob, when it comes to communicating, storytelling is the key. Sharing stories, being transparent, bringing your audience into the conversation, using metaphors to make your point, right? It's paint those digital pictures that people can look at and think about. Use emotions because people will remember how you made them feel. They're not necessarily going to remember everything they read or everything that you just said. But if you can make someone feel in an appropriate fashion, excited about a project or emotional about the impact you're going to have, or motivated to never let that happen again to somebody else, whatever that emotion is, focusing on those things are key. There's 5 steps to doing that. Number one, what you want to do is state the problem, state the challenge, state the reason why you're here. Number two, in each of these steps, everyone, you can spend 30 seconds on one of these steps, or you can spend 5 minutes or 20 minutes. It depends on how important each step is to you. Storytelling, metaphors, using emotions, voice inflection when you're speaking through each of these 5 steps. I'm going to run through them real quick. Number one, state the problem or challenge. Number two, agitate the problem or challenge. If we don't fix this, then this will happen. If we don't take this step, then XYZ will happen. Number three, state a clear and concise solution. Exactly what needs to be done next to fix the problem, to meet this challenge, to achieve our goals. Number four, show how your solution will applies to your immediate audience, whether it's in your DAO, in your Discord, in your social media platforms, in my case, in a court of law. How will your solution help your immediate audience? And then number five, some type of appropriate call to action. So let's all do XYZ. So let's all make this happen. So let's all show up and do XYZ. Make it simple and clear, because time and attention are challenges for all of us right now. We have a lot going on in this Web3 world. Make it easy for people to do what they need to do. Those are the 5 steps. Emotions and storytellings are your foundation. Allow empathy to be your guide, and compassion to serve as your compass, especially in 2022 after what we've been through. Do not demand people do things. Encourage them, suggest, and frankly, run your Discords, run your Web3 communities the way Rob is running this LinkedIn Live audio room. He's facilitating, he's encouraging, he's positive, and that's what it takes, I feel, for us to really be successful in a Web3. I'm going to bounce out, but I will be listening for the next 5 or 10 minutes, Rob, and then I'll be back. Thank you, everyone.
Well, Mitch, what value, as always, you've just shared there, particularly on that breakdown of the storytelling, and you do it so well. So I would just encourage folks, make sure that you give Mitch a follow, because you can learn so much. The snippets and little pieces of wisdom he shares week after week is just fantastic. Francesca, would love to come back to you. Did you want to jump in on that point?
So I don't focus on numbers. I think it's really important. Of course, I get FOMO. It gives me anxiety when I see my colleagues who have hundreds of thousands and tens of thousands of followers, but only for a minute, because then I remember it's not about the numbers, it's about the people and the quality. I've built real relationships with the people in my community. And so I'm slowly growing it and getting subscribers and followers, but I and making sure that it's on the upward trend. Don't get me wrong, that is important to continue to grow, because otherwise, you're probably putting out content that isn't serving the community. But I am not looking to have 10,000 followers overnight, hundreds of thousands of followers that are just going to not engage. So I think that's really important for everyone to realize, like, this is a slow process. You don't have to pay people to get those tens of thousands of followers that aren't even real people or aren't going to engage and give you value. But the truth is, if you begin with those 3 Ps, you're going to build a community online that then is going to give back to whatever purpose it is, whether it's a business purpose or really whatever it is that you're offering. And as a creative, as a business, as a professional, think about building the community, who you want in your community, and just being intentional with your content and providing value to those people.
So true, and such great points, Francesca, because you're absolutely right. It's the quality of the individuals within that community, and then sort of the engagement. Because yeah, you could have a lot of followers, but really, if they're not engaged or they don't feel included as part of the community, what does that really mean? So I think you've done a great job of collaborating and bringing those people and building really good, high profile, trusted relationships. So tremendous job. I would love to jump to Caleb and also Izzy if you wanted to jump in on this, because we've talked a lot about value, creating value for your members within a Web3 community. What are some of the ways, perhaps you're doing it currently, or just to expand upon, just to give people some thoughts? So, Caleb, would love to get your thoughts. What are you thinking of for your members and some of the ideas around sort of value bringing to them?
Sure. I can think of. I was trying to think of a top three, right? One would probably be information, two, recognition, and then three, some sort of monetary reward. And I say that lightly because I don't know if I fully believe in that. But one is information, right? Francesca talked about this. It's an easy one, right? Just giving people value in terms of um, let's say that you're in a community of people that is like some sort of business mastermind. So the easy one there is, let's give all of the people in the community information on, this is how you start a business. This is what you need. This is the kind of marketing plan you need. Fill this out. Little things. I mean, care about your customers. You got to focus on the right. So that is an easy one. Is the information. Let's just give people key information that's going to help them succeed in a certain industry, even as an artist, right? This is something that um, a lot of NFT artists do, where they're like, "Hey, this is the behind the scenes. This is what I do. This is how I make my stuff." So, one, information, two, recognition, right? This is something that I've been doing with our community. Is let's recognize maybe the first 5 to 10 people that have joined. In our case, for Virtual Insanity, I have a long-term plan to recognize like the first 50 to 100 people that have been with us since the beginning. So, because recognition is so underrated, right? People don't realize how critically important this is. Everybody wants to be recognized and seen, and an easy way to do this is in a community, especially in the NFT community, when you're recognizing the people that were there and supporting you and following you when you didn't even really post um, when you didn't post super high quality stuff, right? So um, it's just, how do we recognize those people? Even just shouting them out, right? And then when I said monetary reward, I mean I live in the NFT space, right? So I just kind of like, when I wake up, I think NFTs. When I go to bed, I think like NFTs. So I'm just so sucked into that world. It's hard for me to think of anything else. But in the NFT world, it's very common to give out things like, um, I mean, and NFTs for one. So just give people either a lower tier of your NFT or even a higher tier. Like, hey, let's just give something out. Let's give one to somebody that's not in the community so that they can be a part of the community. That actually boosts morale for everybody, not only that person but also for the people in the community. It's an interesting, but Um, there are things you can give out, like it's DAO tokens. I mean, even non-NFT things, like things that just are worth money that people can maybe resell. Another example is with Bored Ape Yacht Club. They gave out that ape coin, right? So they gave out their community this coin that they could immediately cash out into um, the currency of their choice, right? So I think that that was a really cool move. So I would say that I'm going to cap it there. Those are probably the top three things that you could give out to your community in terms of direct value that just really makes them feel like they are um I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't want to say make them feel valuable, because it's not that they're not. It's just it makes them feel like they are part of something big.
Can I ask a question, Rob?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, how many people in the audience? I mean, I recognize a bunch of you. You have a lot of you, most of you already have incredible communities. So, how many of you are interested in hearing about how you can take your Web 2 community and move it into Web 3? Raise your hand. Sorry, I should say that. Raise your hand now. We can look and see you guys. Raise your hands. Okay. Okay. Great. So, yes, now I'm seeing the hands up. All right. Because we talked a lot about community building. Mitch laid out his incredible tips, and same with Caleb, but Caleb really dove deep into examples. And I want to just take a step back and break it down super high level. And so we're all here because we're like, what is this Web3 thing? What is the metaverse? What are NFTs? They are all different things, and it's important to understand what they are. But very high level, the metaverse currently is just software. It's like games. And if you have kids, or if you are a gamer, you see games, people have their own different metaverses right now where you can access it either with a VR headset, or you can even go on your browser. Mitch meets people in VR where he puts his headset on, but if you don't have it yet, you can access it on the computer because it's software, right? So people are racing to build their own software platforms where they're going to attract people to hang out in that metaverse. And then there's also the concept of the metaverse generally, which we talk about as the goal is to connect them all. And so everyone's going to be hanging out in the metaverse, similar to the internet right now, how everyone has their own software and their own platforms, but they all are connected through the internet. And so that's the metaverse. NFTs, very high level, are verifiable digital assets. You can create NFTs where you basically allow your community to invest in you and invest in your brand. So if you make 100 NFTs and you tell your community, I'm giving access to these people, whoever the first holders of these NF of all the first holders of the NFTs get access to a one-on-one phone call with me or an in-person meetup, or you get access to my private community where we're going to meet once a month. You're giving that community a way to invest in your brand, but you're also giving back to them because they have something that they own. And ownership is critical, and I want to just take a minute to explain that. By giving them an NFT, they have ownership in something where they can turn around and sell it. So not only is it where it is now, where you're charging people to access your masterminds or access your community or pay for whatever service, they could still do that, but it's not an expense. It's a thing that they can hold, and they could now turn around and make a sale on it and reap the rewards. So you're benefiting because they've sold that NFT, and if you have it in the smart contract when you build your NFT, you'll get a percentage of the sale. But not only that, now you have a new community member in your network. So NFTs are really the gifts that keep on giving, and it's a high level example of how we're all going to be using NFTs to give back to our community. And then the third piece is Web3, and Web3 is just the next evolution of the internet, where we're in Web2 right now, where most of it is run on free content that we're creating. We're putting out free content, hoping that someone buys our services or hoping that someone signs up for whatever we're goods, services and products that we're offering. And we're basically paying the platforms like Facebook and YouTube to to advertise. But Web3 changes all that. It's going to allow you to give back to your community directly through NFTs and tokens and consumer development using the technology. So that was like, I don't know, however long I rambled. I hope it was short, but that I hope was a really high level overview of how we're going to be using this technology to grow. And the reality is, it's still so early. We're talking about like imagine the invention of the internet and us talking and theorizing about what Facebook was going to look like. So internet 1990, and we're trying to imagine apps and Snapchat and user generated content. It's still so early, and that's why this kind of is difficult for people to understand, and it's not as easy for you guys to say, oh, I want to create an NFT project. It's doable, but I believe that in the next couple years, the technology is going to be way easier for us to build NFT projects such that this is how you're going to start giving back to your communities through NFTs, and then meeting people and your clients in the metaverse. Okay, I'm done.
But so much value as always, Francesca, and such great points. And I absolutely agree. It is still so early. And that's why, Caleb and I, particularly with Virtual Insanity, is we want to try and just reduce the overwhelm and, put things in very simple form so we can all digest and understand as we go through this transition and these fast-paced changing technologies that we're living in. And I'd love to sort of just chuck this question out to everyone on the stage to get their impacts, and also Francesca, maybe you, because you do so much with NFTs. Do you agree that NFT projects are the sort of perfect intersection of storytelling and community building? Because there's one example that we've mentioned a couple of times, but just for anyone who's not familiar in the audience, the Bored Ape Yacht Club community has done a great job of crafting its story as the most exclusive membership club in Web3, and it grants their members access to these unique events, experiences, and various other benefits. So do you sort of go with that as well, Francesca, in terms of sort of that perfect intersection of storytelling and community building when it comes to NFTs and projects, and maybe some tips for people just getting started?
Right now, the way that you all think of NFTs, the way we all think of NFTs, is digital art for the most part. Many of the projects right now are profile pic, PFP type projects where it is a digital art. So an artist will release a 10,000 piece collection, generative, which is based on, one character that then they make 10,000 variations of. And so whoever gets access to that owns the art. Caveat, they don't own the copyright unless the project team gives it to them, and they'll get something in exchange without any language to the contrary. All you're getting is ownership of this digital asset without anything else. But the projects have evolved, and the Bored Ape Yacht Club is a great example of this, where they give IP to their holders. So if you own one of the images, you also own the IP in that photo. And they also have done a ton of things with giving back to the community. They literally dropped I think $100,000 to each owner the other day, and they gave them their new tokens that have monetary value as well. If you're interested and you don't know anything about NFTs, they're a great example, and you can kind of go down the rabbit hole learning about them. They've partnered with global brands that you know of, so much more. They are the leaders in this space. With NFTs, the technology is what's so revolutionary, and it's literally up to the creativity of the people using them to define what an NFT is and what it can be. And they're really leading the way when it comes to making a brand out of their artwork. And so, I mean, someone posted this today. You could have bought a Bored Ape for $300 this summer, and now they're worth 300. I mean, the floor price to get in is 300,000. So they're an example of people who have started with art that have built an entire business and really a brand and a community out of this. And with storytelling, you know, there isn't that much storytelling yet in them, but I think if you think about what the message is behind the NFT, you can really do a lot with it. And I think relevant to the audience right now, you know, you're all professionals or service providers, or you offer product. It's really, I think the time is now to think about, what would my NFT project look like? What would I want to give to my community? So don't think about just like the artwork that you would give. Really think about, what would you want it, what value would it have if you can give your community the ability to have exclusive access to you or exclusive service offerings. What would you do and how would you do it? Because NFT technology actually gives you that ability. So I think when it comes to storytelling, maybe it's more of a branding thing for everyone. I'm not the branding expert, but I do encourage everyone to think about, be very creative, because literally it's the limit is only your creativity when it comes to NFT projects. But I see people basically giving them to have an exclusive membership type offering, where instead of people paying you an annual fee, they invest in your NFTs, and then you're giving them a way to invest in you, and also something that they can actually go and sell to expand your community, and then you make a royalty every time there's a sale.
Uh, Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just love everything that Francesca said. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm glad that she mentioned the metaverse. This goes back to value, right? This I said this last week, where I was saying a lot of the principles that we've seen with what we are calling Web 2, right? Quote unquote Web 2. The basic principles of marketing and business still apply here. The same principles that have applied since 1920 and 1850 and et cetera, et cetera. Is the fact that you're giving value. A business, the point of a business is to give value. And it's not necessarily that it's the point of a business, it's that that business can't exist without giving value. You literally have to give value of some sort to exist as a business. So with Bored Ape Yacht Club, what are they doing? What's their value? I really believe in what Robert said, which is it's an exclusive club. It's, one could say it's the most exclusive Web3 club out there right now. That exclusivity has come from, it's expensive to buy a Bored Ape um, what's it called, NFT right now, because the floor price is something like 300,000. I think Francesco was saying it's like 30. I forget what the ETH equivalent is, but it's expensive. And just
108 ETH.
108 ETH.
One ETH is $5,000 right now, give or take. It keeps fluctuating.
And that's the other thing, is Ethereum keeps appreciating. So in 2 months from now, Ethereum could be at $6, $7, $8,000, right? So that just because of that, the point is it's expensive. I mean, just last year, yeah, it costed maybe $300 US to mint one of these NFTs. So the point is it's exclusive, right? So what's the value of buying a Bored Ape? This goes back to what I was saying with business and marketing. What are you selling? What is Bored Ape selling when they're selling an NFT? They're not selling an NFT, right? When you're selling the NFT, it sounds a little bit redundant, but when you're buying a Bored Ape NFT, you're buying access to the community, right? So the value is what you get, not necessarily. And you guys are all LinkedIn people, so there's this meme that I've been seeing on LinkedIn a lot, maybe a month or two ago, not so much anymore, but I'm pretty sure you've all seen this with the Super Mario meme, right? Where it's the old like 8-bit one where like it shows Mario and then it shows the flower and then it shows Mario's firepower at the end, right? And the caption is this is not what you're selling, and it's pointing to the flower. This is what you're selling, and then it's pointing to Fire Mario, right? So when he eats the flower, he gets the firepower, right? So you're not you got to think about what you're selling. Board Ape they're not selling those NFTs. They're selling that access to the community. So um what's the point? Why did I just say that? Like what's the point of that? You got to think about what's the value you're providing, because with this NFT world, and this is what Francesca was saying. As time goes on, it's going to be easier to make NFTs for specific purposes. Right now, we've been seeing a lot of these profile picture NFT collections because it's I don't necessarily want to say it's easy, but it kind of is easy to set one up logistically, right? If you just wanted to set one up, make it a randomized set of 10,000 of them, it is somewhat easy, right? You follow some sort of pattern. The marketing's the hard part, but logistically, it's easy to make one of these because of the fact that everybody's doing it, and now there are so many tools available at everybody's disposal to make these. But as time goes on, we're going to see more tools to use NFTs for more specific use cases, right? It's not just going to be about joining a community anymore. It's going to be, businesses can use NFTs to verify certain things. That I've seen a lot of businesses. I hate to use this example. Well, not that I hate it. I don't know if I can. I've not been given permission to disclose this. So I'll give you an example of something that somebody's been doing. Where let's say that somebody just opened up a coffee shop, right? So you just and this coffee shop is also in the metaverse, right? So this person that owns this coffee shop, it's a local one, and it's that typical indie, right? Like you get these cool people that are your baristas, right? But you buy one of the NFTs, you have access not only to free coffee for a year, right? You get free access to the coffee in the metaverse, right? So your character can quote unquote drink this coffee, right? So it's access to that specific aspect of it. So you get utility in you're actually getting a physical product, which is the coffee, something you can actually drink. It's tangible. It's not just about accessing, so and so community. That NFT unlocks your free coffee for a year. So that's really the utility of NFTs that we're going to be seeing a lot more of this year.
I'm
Um,
waiting for Starbucks's unlimited
I knew
annual
you were going to say
NFT,
something.
or
Yeah,
for life. I keep tweeting them and tagging them. Like if they come up with it, I need one.
that is so like same kind of. I mean, I love that would be so cool. I mean, how cool would that be to have a Starbucks NFT? That's where we're headed. Is eventually Starbucks will have some sort of hopefully, but more companies are getting on board with using NFTs for specific reasons like that, right? It's not just going to be about um, but it's still community. It's still community because Starbucks is servicing their community by saying, "Here's an NFT, use it for this purpose," and they're still fostering the relationship that they have with their customers.
I would like to add to what you are saying, Khaled, because if we are taking Board API Club as an example, they are also providing access not only for community but also for IP rights. This is the huge part of their NFT project, and um, like being a part of like derivative project of Board API Club. If you heard about Board Ape Ladies Club, I can tell briefly their like story, which is much greater than like these few sentences which I will give. It's a female-led community, and the owner, the founder, have the OG apes, and now she is giving these IP rights to make a derivative to those artists who will become a resident of this collective. So not only she is trying to um, multiple the number of female ape ladies among the community, because there are very few email NFT versions of Bored Ape. But also she is giving a highlight to very talented NFT creators who don't own the OG ape. So she is building for already over a year, like I would say a big business, because once she was in a good place in a good moment, and she started working for apes. So being a resident in the collective, I did a derivative of it, and in this way I entered to Ethereum blockchain because I'm mainly on the other blockchain. So this is also for me the value which I see in Board Ape Yacht Club. Thanks to them, And after it comes to me to give additional value to NFT which I created. So the not only I did the derivative of the board ape and I participated in the project which I believe in and supporting females, etc. I sent my derivative to the space. Uh, we had a space mission, so this NFT had been sent to International Space Station abroad the globe, and it was beamed back to the Earth. So I received this NFT of mine from I think Africa, and now I'm giving this certificate as an NFT people that know this what they provide to community by spreading their IP rights. And also this year they did a huge step forward with buying punk CryptoPunks. So now the same the creators of Board Ape Yacht Club, they are also owners of Punks, CryptoPunks, and they also gave to all the owners of CryptoPunks the IP rights, and they can use CryptoPunks, which they own as their branding. They can make another coffee shop, not a Starbucks, but their own coffee shop, and put the CryptoPunks or Bored Apes at their logo or branding. That's like such a great thing. But um, just I would say additional information from my perspective is that utilities are very good, but also I would say appreciate the artistic side of the NFTs. Business related things. Don't only on the utility, but also try to appreciate the art. As more you will start to recognize which art is, how can I say? Yeah, I cannot say more beautiful, or more artistic because they're not such a creative. If you see that, if you recognize which art more skill, which time, you will be able to see the hidden diamond. So if you will start to collect those artworks, believe me, those people who invested so much of their own time to create drawing skills, artistic skills, they will never leave this road. They will never leave this path. So they will keep building. And this is just like a small tip for you if you will enter to the and collect.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Izzy. And it's I think it was cutting in and out a little bit, but I think we got that. And such great points as always. And it's just great to see how perhaps organizations that you are hearing, such as the Board Yacht Club, how they're doing things is super interesting. I'm conscious that we have fast come to the top of the hour, so I just wanted to see if anyone else on the stage wanted to share any sort of final thoughts on the topic today around sort of engaging or building community in Web3, or any sort of resources to point people to. Mitch, we'd love to jump to you.
Did you talk about the MetaMask Apple Pay integration that was announced? So just real quick, apparently Apple Pay and MetaMask are integrating so that we can use one with the other, depending on whether or not you're standing in line at Starbucks or in a Web3 digital platform. I think that's exciting because that does build community. And I also wanted to leave off when it comes to acquiring artist rights and IP rights. It's one thing for someone to say, listen, you have the right to do X, Y, Z. It's another thing for you to actually have the rights to do that. So I encourage everyone who is spending, a lot of money to acquire one NFT or another, really dive deep into the supporting documentation so that you know exactly what you're getting. Our mutual friend Ira Rothkin on April 3rd tweeted, NFT bug alert US law. And Francesca, maybe next show we can talk more about this. He brings up 17 USC 203, allows the artist to terminate some copyright licenses 35 years after the grant, putting at risk some long-term NFT collections, the big collections like we're talking about. Physical art has the first sale doctrine, quote unquote, but NFT digital artists do not, and is usually licensed by the artist to buyers. So this tends to tell me that we need to really make sure the licenses that I was listening to people talk about purport to do exactly what you think they're going to do. And if not, there may be an issue 35 years from now with your expensive, investment. So pay attention to the law, pay attention to the rules, pay attention to how things are moving forward. When it comes to building community, look at how all of the major players are integrating and playing nice with each other to help support each other's communities so that we can all move forward together. So it's been a great show today. Thanks for including me, everyone, and can't wait till next week.
Thanks as always, Mitch. Great points. And yeah, it's so important with all of the Web3 that you do your due diligence. And that's why we're here every Monday, folks. We're here to try and help with sort of educating, answer questions. So feel free to join us again next week, where we're going to be doing some more topics related to the world of Web3. Make sure that you give everyone on stage a follow so you can be connected with them. And by all means, if you have any questions or want to talk about specific topics, just drop either myself or anyone on stage a quick DM, and we'll try and incorporate that into these shows. Yeah, well, hopefully, folks, you've enjoyed today's discussion. I love collaborating with all of you and learning. This is a great space for all of us to come together to learn. It is still super new, as Francesca rightly said. So thank you all so much for spending some time with us today on Monday. Hopefully see you all next week. Bring some friends along. Hopefully you got some value from the discussion. And yeah, for now, we will see you over and out, folks. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.